Welcome back. Now we answer questions we've received from you, our viewers. If you have a question, visit our website, QuranSpeaks.com. Dr. Shabir, the question is, I know the views of Ya'juj and Ma'juj from the Quranic and biblical perspectives, but I haven't found any logical explanation of the wall and Ya'juj and Ma'juj in the present-day world. What are the scholars' logical view regarding this issue? Like, where is the wall located? Or which nation is Ya'juj and Ma'juj from? Or is it all beyond our understanding?
Yeah, so just to put this in perspective for those viewers who are not Muslims and they're wondering what is Ya'juj and Ma'juj. So this is the equivalent of Gog and Magog. But in the Hebrew, the Jim is pronounced with, it's a hard G. So Gog and Magog, whereas in Arabic, it's the soft G, like in George. So it's Ya'juj and Ma'juj. So basically we're talking about the same entities, but there are different details which are mentioned in the Bible and in classical Jewish tradition and Christian tradition and so on. So sticking with what the Quran mentions, there's only a brief mention of this in two places in the Quran. There are a lot more details in the Hadith, and the question that Muslims are struggling with actually have a lot to do with the details which are mentioned in Hadith. So you have a lot of mythical descriptions in Hadith. For example, you have a description like, what do these people look like who are called Ya'juj and Ma'juj? So according to one description, their ears are so big that when they're ready to sleep, they sleep on one ear as their cushion, and they use the other ear to cover themselves as a blanket. So one wonders, are these really people? And in the Shia tradition, there is an understanding that they're not from Bani Adam. They're not from among the children of Adam. So that's a separate species. So who exactly they are, this has been given rise to a lot of speculation, but a lot of this has to do with the Hadith, especially because the Hadith describe them as being of such a large number. So Muslims now become fascinated with finding, like, where can we get such a large number of people such that when the army lines up, the vanguard will be in Syria, but the rear of this whole arrangement will be like in Khorasan, far distance away. And when they approach a lake, they'll drink from the lake, so that by the time the last of the army gets into the lake, it's all dried up, and because all the water is gone from just the drinking of these people. So, but if we just go with the Quranic narrative, the bare narrative, in 18th chapter of the Quran, and the story of Dhul Qarnayn, and then in the 21st chapter of the Quran, in the 96th verse, I believe it is, where it says, that when إذا فتحت يأجوج ومأجوج وهم من كل حدب ينسلون. So they will descend from every slope when the opening arises. But what is the opening? It is the Ya'juj and Ma'juj who will be opened or are released. But released from where is not exactly stated. In the 18th chapter, Dhul Qarnayn, who is said to have built a wall to stave them off. But the details of that wall are very scanty in that surah of the Quran. And it's a hadith that says that they're continually trying to bore the wall. But they give up by the end of the day before completing the project. And then overnight, miraculously, the wall reseals itself. And then, by the grace of God, obviously. And then the next day, they have to start all over from the beginning. So this must have been going on for, a couple of thousand years. And they're not getting the hint that they have to complete the job before going to sleep.
So is the hadith similar to the biblical narrative?
No, there are differences.
Okay.
The biblical narratives are also very few and scanty. There are some references in the Torah where, curiously, it is said Gog from Magog, as if one is the people and the other is the place. And later on, that comes to be construed as Gog and Magog. And in the book of Ezekiel, there is some more detail, but that's it's a lot of mystical detail in the book of Ezekiel anyway. And also in the book of Revelation in the Christian New Testament. And so they are shown to be the enemies of Christ. And some of that lives on in Islamic depictions as well. When Jesus comes back, he will have to slay his enemies, including the Ya'juj and Ma'juj. But God will take care of them miraculously, so Jesus will be spared the effort. And but those details are not in the Quran. So all we know from the Quran is that there are some people called Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Dhul Qarnayn built a dam to stave off their advance, to protect some people. But how many are those people, and how many survive, where they are, and which is that wall, the Quran is silent about. So it's best for Muslims to also be silent about all of that. We just get the lessons from these stories. We see that there are people who might spread corruption. They have to be retained. There are good people like Dhul-Qarnayn who believe in God, and they do what is necessary for the protection of unprotected people in the world.
All right, thank you for that, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
On behalf of Let the Quran Speak, I want to say thank you. You've helped us become the most widely watched Muslim TV show in Canada. I want to appeal to you to continue to support us. You can visit our website, QuranSpeaks.com. We also accept e-transfers to iGive@QuranSpeaks.com. And we're now on Patreon, so you can make a monthly contribution. May God bless you and your loved ones today and always.